is a video just showing off version 1.0 of my operating system and everything that I've done up to this point. And I thought I'd just give like a quick tour of everything that I've done and maybe talk about some future development plans in at the end. But yeah, the first thing that happens when you boot up the operating system is that you just are treated with the spinning cube until you actually press anything on the keyboard, so it'll actually enter the command line, right? And I have the help command that just shows off all of the basic features of the OS right now, or like all the most important and notable parts of it at least. So let me try out one of these commands. So see, we have the command say that takes in one argument of a string, so you can pretty much just say anything, and it'll just print that back out to the command line. So you can just type anything and it'll print it back out. And since we're in text mode, I made like a bunch of ASCII art, obviously. So there's I think 5 different options for this one. So this is like the default one. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. That's 4. And then anything past 5 just loops back around the list, right? And I'm sorry if you see any like artifacting, like any like graphical artifacts on the screen, like when I print a bunch of stuff. That's mainly just like a QEMU thing. QEMU? I don't even know how the fuck you pronounce that, but yeah, QEMU just does that when you're in text mode. It just leaves like a bunch of weird lines and stuff where they shouldn't be. But well, you're also able to use a PC speaker and send a frequency to cause a beep. Right, and also I don't think I've ever showed this, but whenever you type in a wrong command that's not recognized, it'll just, yeah, it'll give like a low frequency beep. But and the reason why that one command didn't actually register as being unknown is because the entire command line is one giant hash table. So I just hash every single string and see if it fits an index in a table that was initialized when I booted up the operating system. That points to a function to execute, right? So sometimes you'll type things that are actually treated as real commands. So actually I know one right now. So beep, right? You send in frequency to the PC speaker, but there's a command that matches the exact same hash, which is full, right? So you could use beep or full and it's still a completely valid command in that regard. But yeah, other than the command line, what else do we have? The file system. So I made my own file system. There's no files allocated right now, but it's based off of blocks that are 1920 bytes in size, so it's like an uneven, sort of weird asymmetrical file system that still has a lot of bugs in it. And I think to show off the file system, you have to actually create a file, which we're gonna do through this is my host mouse, isn't the mouse in the operating system. But there are these modes, or like there are these little pre-packaged like software programs, or like just basically just kernel ring 0 programs in the operating system that I call modes, that just allow you to do certain things. So if you press Control and E, it'll go to the file edit mode, and we just enter a file name. So we'll just type file, and we'll just type anything, and then hit Control W, and it will create the file, right? So if we press escape and go back to the search screen and we type file again, this time it's going to bring up what we just writ into the disk. I'm trying to do this all in one take, so hopefully it doesn't come out too choppy. But if you press Control and hit the right or left arrow keys, you'll go to different blocks to write, right? So this is the first one, block 0. second one, block 1, we could just type this is block 1. And you'll see that it says the file has been saved. So if you press Ctrl W and it says it's been saved, that means that the file already exists. But if it doesn't exist, it'll create one, right? So we can go back between block 1 and block 0. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, 3, etc. Control C to exit the mode. And now when we list the files again, we're going to have one file named file and the sector that it's located on. So if you go back to this help command, there's a command that says rdisk and wdisk, so you could read from the disk. The first argument is the sector you want to read from, so let's read from 2883, where this file is located, and how many bytes you want to read. So we'll just read like the entire sector, which is 512. And it prints, oh yeah, in my file system, I made it so that the first sector contains all the file metadata, so it probably just printed like a character that wipes the screen that I have it set to in my printf function. So we'll go to the next sector and read all the data in there. Then we see it says anything. And then I think it might be like sector this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so read that sector and then we get the one on the second block, right? So we skipped ahead 4 sectors. Then you could also tell the size of the file, and it says the file is 3840 bytes large. So it works in 1920 blocks of 1920, you know, 2 blocks is 3840, right? And you could also delete files with the delete command, so just type in delete file. File was deleted. Doesn't list any files. If you try to search it up again, there's nothing here. If you type something and save it, and it'll save it as a new file, right? And the file system is pretty buggy. If you delete files that weren't the most recently allocated, or you try to write to certain sectors on certain blocks, it won't save, or it'll mess up or list things incorrectly. So that's like one of the major bugs that I have to fix. What else? Might as well talk about, I might as well get like this out of the way, right? So you could read and write from memory directly. So rmem0. This is 32-bit memory. This is in protected mode 32-bit operating system. So you're gonna read from, and you could write 32-bit values to these different areas of memory. So it said we read from this memory address 3, the value of 240. So we can write to 3. We'll write this arbitrary number. And see it wrote 123,678 to memory location 3 for read from that memory location again. And it will be the value we just written, right? So I guess the main reason why this is useful would mainly just be for scripting purposes. And there is like basic scripting, so if we clear the screen and go to the help command again, you'll see there's this int command, and this is just to define a variable in my it's not really a scripting language, it's more like just a way to interpret like different commands and how they interact with each other. But I guess that's kind of like it, but whatever, right? So you type int, then you type like a string, so just type x 10. Then if we type x again, it's going to return 10, right? So this is now this isn't like a dynamically allocated variable or anything. This is like there's like a maximum of 1024 variables that you could identify. And they're treated the same way as commands, as, you know, accessing a hash table basically. So if we type like y, you know, it's going to be an unknown command or variable. So we say int y1, type y again, now it's 1. There's also this, I almost scrolled it over here, but this is plus command, which is used in the exact way you'd think it would be used, which is just plus, let's say x 10. So x was previously 10, now we type x again, it's going to be 20, right? And there's minus x4, right, it's going to be 16. Divided to x2, it's going to be, 8, right? And yeah, so these like little mathematical operator commands, um, the first argument is gonna be a variable, and then whatever these is like prefix notation. So if you type we type plus y 78, it's going to add 78 to y and then save it into variable y, right? So now we get 79. Y was 1, now it's 79. And there's also and or, there's like bit operators as well. So if you do like x or y, and you can use other variables as arguments. So if you do x or yx, it's going to save it in y. Now y is going to be 71. Remember x is 8, so if we do x or yx again, now it's going to be 79, back what it was originally, right? So if you ever taken like a cryptography 101 class, then you probably know how that works, or you were expecting that. So, and you can add like let's say y 10 25, y was 79, now it's 114, so you could probably verify that's 79 plus 35. It'll like take in whatever the maximum amount of arguments are, right? But yeah, if you allocate a file, name this file script, then you can combine this to make basic scripting programs. So just int x, and any command that takes a number that isn't given a number is just going to default to 0. So int x is just all that's needed to define a variable that is 0. And then we're going to, let's say, what should I write? Just int x and then print out x. So now we have this file script. Oh yeah, we also have this file. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't like list out the files correctly 100% of the time, but we're gonna execute the file script with the ex command. And what it just did is that it defined a variable x and initialized it to 0. And there's also like if statements and loop statements. So we could say if 1 is less than 2. Now this is a true statement, right? So whatever we type is going to be sent to the command line. So we could say test, and it's going to go through. And if statements just fi. But if you say if 1 is more than 2, then whatever you type is just going to be ignored, right? Fi to end it, and then it'll return back to normal, right? So there isn't really any nesting if or loop statements yet. It's just like basic, if the condition isn't correct, then it just ignores whatever you send to the command line, except for this specific command, right? So if we go back to our script file, we could say if x is less than 5 and hit enter, then tab, which doesn't write anything to the file, it just moves your cursor. Then we'll just say x is less than 5, and then we're gonna end that if statement, right? Also, white space does definitely matter. If you accidentally type like a space character somewhere, you need to delete it since it's gonna interpret it incorrectly. That's just how my very basic command line works. But if we execute script now, then it's gonna print out x, and then it's gonna say x is less than 5 since that condition was true. But if we initialize x, or let's just say plus x10, then we're gonna execute the script again, and it's just gonna print out x. It's not gonna, that condition isn't true, so it's not going to do anything, right? Let's make a new script. Let's say just okay. So I'm gonna make a new script. We're gonna use loops, right? So loop. Once again, they use conditions. So y, as long as y is less than, let's say, 100, we're just going to add 1 to y, and we're gonna print y, and then we're gonna end the loop. So a loop, as long as the condition is true in a loop, when it gets to the command pool, then it will just go back to the space in the file where the loop command was, and then execute everything from there, recheck the condition, and just execute everything from there. And because of that, it doesn't really work in the command line as the if statement does, so, you know, but let's see how this works now. So we're gonna execute, okay, and it prints out every number from 1 to 100, right, as expected. And let's say we also want to, about y less than 1000. We're gonna initialize y to 100 here. We'll just add y. We'll add y. We'll just add 100 to y. And then we're going to make a beep with the value y. And let's see what that does. We're gonna execute okay. And then hopefully you heard that. Hopefully all the beeps are coming out on the audio end, but it just did like a bunch of crazy beeps just now. Sounds like a Pac-Man sound effect, but yeah, any command that takes like an integer value should also take. I made it so they judge whether or not it's like an actual number, or if it's like a variable. So if it's not a number, then I'll say, okay, is this a variable? If it isn't, then I'll just default it to 0, right? But so let me try to delete a file. Let's try to delete the file named file, and let's see how it messes up. See, so file was deleted, and now it doesn't list okay. So there's obviously some error with me writing this certain like data to the file system table, or at least reading from it or something, but I need to still fix it. Hopefully I can get that done before the release, but I'm not sure. I'm really busy with like school and work now, so I don't know if I'll get that done in time. But let's go to like the other modes. So we pretty much went over most of the commands here. So let's go over the snake mode. So this is just like a normal snake game. And here's like all the weird visual artifacts that Kimi produces that I was talking about, right? Yeah, I also included another game in this operating system that I'm not going to show off in this video because I said that I'll only save it for people who actually try it out themselves, but it's Control I, right? Control I is how you enter that game mode. This is Control S. Let me just die real quick. Also, you like that sound effect, you know? I thought that was cool. But yeah, you can go from mode to mode, and like this, you can just switch between modes however you want to. It doesn't really matter. This is Control P. This is the piano mode, which just uses the PC speaker to play pre-configured frequencies, which are just notes. So let's play like Mary Had a Little Lamb, for example. Oh, that's nice. And if you hold shift and then press the notes, it'll go to like deeper octaves. You know? And the row before it actually sends the notes higher. Which might be kind of confusing, but it's whatever, right? So let me try to play like a scale in here. Let's try like a C blues scale. I think that's correct, right? Or that's enough playing piano for today. What else is there to show off that I haven't showed off yet? I'll show off the game mode for 1 split second and then that's it. Hold on. That's it. That's all you're saying. That's all you're saying. But so I showed up to piano mode, file edits, reading memory. There's a long list of like miscellaneous like stupid commands that I've added here. But we'll just straight up brick the system, and I don't want to do that right now. But I'll probably. Is there any other commands that I could show? Oh, there's this. Right. I haven't really showed off like a bunch of like, this is called osakaOS, but I haven't showed off a bunch of Azumanga like diode related stuff in here. But actually, this is gonna be very nice to see, which is if you press the Windows key or the Command key, right, whatever you want to call it, you enter VGA mode, right? So these are the graphics so far. And I don't know. I think there's like some built-in timer into VGA, but I'm just using like the pit timer just to prevent everything from flashing as much as it is now. This is the cursor, right? I have a basic like windowing system set up. So we can move around these little useless windows, right? And I have a lot of plans for the graphical, for like the graphics of the operating system. Right now it's just like mainly the text mode. But it's probably not gonna be like this. It's gonna be much different. It's not gonna be. It's definitely not gonna be as sorry as it is. Yeah, this is like my favorite part of the entire thing so far. If you press left click, she changes like into an angry face. When she's moving a tile, she's like showing. She's like tired, showing like considerable physical strength moving it. I think that's pretty cool. This is so fucking stupid. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show off for now. When I return back to development in like 2024, and like a few months after I get through this one term of school and get settled into my job, then I'll probably like pour like a whole bunch of work into just setting up like what I want from a basic graphical system. But for right now, all we got is like these little tiles that just move around, and we have the Osaka cursor. But I mean, yeah, that's basically it. The GitHub is mostly organized by now, and it should be released. If it wasn't released before this video came out, it should be released like shortly after, maybe like the day after. But I'll probably just save this video and release it like the day after I actually release, or like make the GitHub public. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been like speaking very clearly or eloquently for the past like 10 minutes. I've been just sort of. I haven't drank water in a while. I should probably go do that. But also, if you let me make like a nice background here. There we go. This is nice. Yeah, there's this weird glitch where if you like move some window into another window, you could just sort of slide along the edge and it just moves on its own. Because the actual cursor itself is in the top left corner of this Osaka face. So if we like hold left click and she's moving it with her head, it looks like she's like pushing out. That's awesome. But I mean, that's basically it. Let me try to move it back down here. There we go. But let me get up there. If you click space, it just freezes the entire thing and like breaks the loop, and now it's now it's over.